Following the most soul-crushing loss of the year, Cardinals fans are calling for Oli Marmol's head. Plus, the Cardinals made a roster move today by sending star rookie Jordan Walker down to Memphis. Is this a good or a bad thing? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals on Twitter. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment. That way you can interact with us. Hit the notification button. That way you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. The Cardinals did make a move today, late this afternoon, optioning star rookie Jordan Walker to AAA Memphis. We will talk about that later on in the show. But first, I want to chat about what went down last night in San Francisco, because last night the Cardinals, they made me emotional. They made me emotional in a regular season game in April, which I didn't know was actually possible because I'm a pretty even-keel guy. Some would say I'm almost too laid back about things in life, but, I'm not a guy that's going to panic about stuff. Normally, I take a step back, I kind of gather myself, proceed forward in a calm demeanor. But last night, my frustrations with this team and my utter disbelief over what happened in that ninth inning at the end of the game, it got the best of me. In case you missed it, and if you're listening or watching a St. Louis Cardinals podcast dedicated to Cardinals baseball, I'm assuming you didn't, and I assume that you already know what happened. But the Cardinals were one strike away last night from a wonderful win on the road in San Francisco. A lot of things went right in this game for the Redbirds. The Giants threw a bullpen game against them, so you had different pitchers coming in and out the whole game. First off, watching them do that, imagine not having an exhausted bullpen so that you can do something like that. The Cardinals don't have that right now. This is not even an option to them. And for 7 innings last night, this bullpen idea, it was working against the Cardinals, who managed to only scrape 1 run across, and that was on a Tommy Edman solo shot in the 3rd inning. Nothing was happening offensively again for this baseball team. Jake Woodford, got to give him credit. Jake Woodford actually looked pretty decent last night, considering what we've been going through so far this year. I'm kind of fed up with giving these guys credit for making it 5 innings in a game. It's kind of sad that we celebrate that accomplishment, since that's their friggin' job, and the fact that more times than not, they haven't been good enough to make it 5 innings, and that it's lowered our standards to applauding an average starting pitching outing by somebody. But that's where we are with this team right now. We're looking for anything positive, and Woodford gave them a chance to win last night. He allowed just 2 runs on 5 hits and 5 1/3 innings. He walks once, he walks one, strikes out 4, and really only made 1 mistake, and that was the home run ball that he left up in the zone. By the way, that is now 7 home runs allowed by Woodford this season, which is an alarming rate for a sinker ball pitcher, a guy who relies on getting ground balls. He's supposed to be like Alex Cobb, yet 7 gopher balls already this season. But the other run that came across the plate, not really Woodford's fault by any means. That was in the 2nd inning, where the Cardinals looked like a little league team, like the Bad News Bears playing for the first time, committing 2 errors on a basic attempted steal of second base. And on that play, Contreras throws it into the outfield. Carlson misses it when trying to pick it up, and then has a terrible throw to home plate. Wasn't going to get him anyway, but still awful. So the guy stealing second base comes all the way around to score. That can't happen. That's pathetic. A pathetic effort all around by everyone involved. Just awful. Right there, I wanted to throw my remote control at the television. I really did. I was so fired up after that. Just awful. But in the eighth inning, down 2-1, the Giants bring in a left-hander, which I have no idea why. I guess he needed the work, but you got to know better than to bring in a left-hander against the Cardinals, who feast on left-handed pitching. They love to hit against the left-handers, and they start a rally. Dylan Carlson switches over to hitting from the right side of the plate, his better side, leads off with a single. Paul DeYoung pinch hits for Donovan against the lefty. He singles. Tommy Edman almost grounds into a rally-killing double play, but instead hustles, beats out the throw at first base. Inning is still alive. First and third, one out. Then Tyler O'Neill pinch hits for Lars Nootbaar, again eliminating that lefty on lefty at bat, and he smacks a double off the wall in right field, ties the game up at 2-2. Huge hit for O'Neill, who has really struggled here in the early goings. Giants bring in their closer to face Goldie. They bring the infield in. They want to cut down the play at the plate. But Goldie hits an absolute bullet, which was said to have gone 110 miles per hour, which I assume is accurate, but probably looked more like 210 miles per hour with the infield in for shortstop Brandon Crawford, who's got one of the best gloves in the game. But he can't react fast enough. It drives in both runners. 4-2 Redbirds. We're feeling good, aren't we? I was feeling good. I was really, really happy. And they hold on to this lead into the bottom of the ninth for your all-star closer, Ryan Helsley, who coming into the game hadn't allowed a run since opening day. He's been good, albeit only 6 appearances, but still he's been fine. First hitter, Jock Peterson, hits one to Edman at second base. Last night, they gave Edman an error on the play, but have since changed it to a single. But Edman will tell you, he should have had that ball. Tommy Edman normally makes that play. He's a Gold Glover, for God's sakes. He's supposed to make that play, but he doesn't. Leadoff guy is on, and we know that usually spells trouble. But it's a two-run lead here, so how bad can it get? Then Helsley gives up a double to right center to Mike Yastrzemski, who I warned you, hot coming into this series. Makes it 4-3. Now I'm starting to get sweaty. But Helsley stays cool. Gets Estrada to pop out, punches out Crawford. You got 2 outs. Brings in Blake Sable, a guy who strikes out a ton. What was it they said that he struck out? He struck out in like 14 straight games, something like that. Swings and misses a lot. He has trouble hitting the fastball. Has bad numbers against fastballs. At the same time, has had some decent success against breaking balls. Has been a much better breaking ball hitter than he has been a fastball hitter. So what do the Cardinals decide to do? What's their game plan going into this at bat against him? They throw him 4 straight breaking balls. Curveball, slider, and on the 1-2 count, Sable smashes that 4th breaking ball 428 feet over the center field wall. Giants win it 5-4. I almost threw up. I almost did. It didn't actually happen, but I almost did. I wanted to. Why that pitch selection? When the numbers, the analytics, the thing that you are supposed to go by says throw fastballs. Whose fault is that? Dusty Blake? Your pitching coach? Is it Oli's fault? Wilson Contreras? Ryan Helsley? Contreras puts the signs down, but Helsley can shake off anything he wants. Did they not scout this guy? I don't understand what happened there. I'm still flabbergasted about it. Demoralizing into a game. I was angry following this loss. If you watched the short on YouTube last night, I was pissed. It's the first career walk-off home run that Helsley has allowed, and it couldn't come at a more appropriate time, with the Cardinals seemingly finding every way possible to lose games in the month of April. This has to be rock bottom, doesn't it? It can't go any worse than this. The Cardinals are now in sole possession of last place in the NL Central. There's nowhere else to go. They're only ahead of the Nationals and the Rockies for the worst record in the National League by like a game. They're terrible right now. And yesterday we brought up whether or not manager Oli Marmol should be on the hot seat, considering how bad everything has been. And we got some good reactions, most certainly. And I'm going to share some of them with you next. Plus, as I mentioned at the top here, the team also optioned rookie Jordan Walker to Memphis today. We're going to get into that move as well on Locked On Cardinals. Our new sponsor, So Rare. is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, so where managers truly own their fantasy experience by collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. It's not just for the fun of it. No, you get to win some cool stuff. Win or lose, you'll still own those cards, and there's no cost to play. Now, you are allowed to purchase cards if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance, and you collect increasingly powerful cards and accessing next level competition and rewards. Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez are guys that back this program. They believe in this game and these cards, and you have a chance to actually engage with the So Rare community throughout the season at MLB events. Get to the top of the leaderboards. You can win a variety of awards, which include So Rare scarcity cards, game tickets, merchandise, signed jerseys, and VIP experiences like meeting MLB stars. Head to SoRare.com/lockedon. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free players. Set your lineup and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that is SoRare.com/lockedon to start playing today. Grand slams, no hitters, and double plays are back, and there's no better place to get in on the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because new customers, you're getting a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use, and you can bet on everything. Everything you can even imagine. Doesn't necessarily have to be baseball. You can bet on other things. And NBA, NHL playoffs. I'm wearing my Cardinals hockey jersey today. I've been loving the NHL playoffs. And I know it stinks that the Blues aren't in it this year. But, man, these games have been fun. NBA playoffs have been fantastic. All kinds of drama going on in these games. And you can make them even more fun by betting on these games. So don't miss your chance to get this no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball. The Cardinals are in San Francisco again tonight. Lefty Steven Matz takes the bump, still looking for some good some good juju, if you will. He has pitched somewhat better, but been a rough go for Steven Matz. Been a rough go for the Cardinals in general. But you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We got a day game tomorrow, so that show will be available following tomorrow's game as we put a bow on the San Francisco series. So just a heads up there. With the Cardinals struggling so bad, I brought up the topic yesterday on whether or not the fans think the team should replace manager Oli Marmol. And I told you why I think it's a bit premature to start doing that. But it's an open forum. And that's what I want this show to be about. Like, I want to be able to discuss back and forth with fans of all sorts of different opinions. Whether you want to keep them, you want them fired, who do you want to bring in? I love all of it. And you guys knocked it out of the park in the comment section on our YouTube page. So here are some of the, and there were so many responses. You guys are awesome. But here are some of the ones that kind of stood out to me. Dylan writes, I think this season is more of a rookie season as manager than last season was for Oli. He had so much experience last season. Pujols, Yachty, Jeff Albert, Mike Maddox. Now he's by himself, almost with a new and relatively inexperienced with their new roles coaching staff. I think this is a great point by Dylan. Last year, maybe there wasn't as much pressure on him considering that veteran presence that he had around him. I don't know how much he leaned on guys like Albert and Yachty and even Wainwright, who hasn't been with the team hardly. So to help make certain decisions that were going on, I don't know. We've seen the pitching staff struggle and not having Yachty and Maddox and that very special Maddox claw that he brought out and put on the pitcher's shoulders to calm things down and call the games could be a huge reason why this team is where they are. I don't have any insight as to who's calling the games the most, whether it's left more up to the pitchers or to Wilson Contreras behind the plate or the coaching staff is making call. I don't know. I can tell you this much, though. they're not asking for the ball right down the middle or up in the zone. And that's where I see the biggest problem with the pitching staff is pitch location. It's always pitch location. Last night's game with Helsley, you want to throw another slider, that's great, but you can't throw it up in the zone. Like, that's got to be down. You got to get Sable to chase. And it's right over the heart of the plate. Major league hitters are going to clobber that every single time. Chaos T, awesome name, writes, I'm getting Scott Linehan and Mike Yeo vibes from Marmol. Outside looking in, he looks overwhelmed. I laughed at this one. I like the comparisons. For those unfamiliar, Scott Linehan was a head coach for the Rams from 06 to 08. He went 11-25. It was when the Rams were not very good. This was after the Greatest Show on Turf stuff. He started out, ironically, 4-2, had a good start, and then things just went south. And he was let go. Then Mike Yeo was the Blues head coach. Remember, he was the successor to Ken Hitchcock, which seems like that was a million years ago, doesn't it? But it was only back in 2017. Had that great second half. They make the playoffs. They beat Minnesota. Then they get bounced. But then the next season, they just crumbled. Had a terrible start. They bring in Craig Berube, takes over, turns them into Stanley Cup champions. And I believe Mike Yeo still got a ring for that. I think he did. But when things are going well, any job looks easier than it really is. And this is the hardest stretch of baseball many of these guys have ever gone through. And I know some of these guys have been on losing teams, like, Arenado's been on Colorado when they were losing a lot or whatever. But when you come into the season with the expectations that you're supposed to be winning and you're this bad, and we're not talking about you guys are just mediocre right now. They are bottom of the league bad right now. It's a slap in the face, and it's really, really hard. When you're supposed to be good at something and you're not, it's even worse. And Oli said after last night's loss that when you suffer like this, it creates some perseverance. And perseverance, character, this group's not going to cave. I don't care what people think. This will serve us extremely well when we get into September. The question is, Oli, will they be playing meaningful baseball in 4 months for it to even matter? We hope. This is a veteran team for the most part. We hope that they're able to turn this around. But I think it's funny that he brings up it's going to serve us well when we get to September. It's 4 months from now, man. You need to be worrying about getting this stuff going now. Elizabeth Smith writes, we're Cardinals fans and we aren't used to this. We have a new bench coach, new hitting coach, new pitching coach. Yachty was a leader that was here for 19 years. We have great players. We need some pitchers. They're going to turn this around in May. Let's have faith and support in our guys. Let's go Cards. Elizabeth, bless your heart. And thank you very much for the comment. And I agree that us fans, and I even said this to my wife earlier today. She's a Reds fan. She's from Cincinnati. They've won 3 in a row. They just swept the Texas Rangers. And now the Cardinals are in the basement because of that. And she was talking about how exciting it is to see their team doing what they're doing. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, the Cardinals aren't used to what's going on in St. Louis. We're not used to watching them lose. 2016 through 2018, they didn't make the playoffs. But they still had winning records with 86, 83, and 88 win seasons. Their last losing record was in 2007 when they went 78 and 84. And that was following a World Series win in 2006. So you kind of were like, yeah, but we just won the series last year. So, okay, we'll take a losing year. But 2007. That's how long it's been since this team has suffered like this. Since this fan base has suffered like this. And as a fan base, most of us don't know the struggles of losing like this. So perhaps we're not handling it the best way possible. I know I'm having a tough time with it. A lot of the comments that were left on yesterday's episode, positive. And you've got a lot of people who are like, fire Oli now. He sucks. Everybody sucks. Blow it up. And I get the frustration and the feelings for it. I really, really do. I do not blame you for feeling that way. But like I said, most of the comments are positive, like Elizabeth's, and are stressing patience. And that's what Oli, that's what John Mozeliak, that's what the players are all stressing as well. I know it gets old having to hear that over and over, but what else are you going to do? You kind of have to weather the storm here and hope at the end of it, you come out as a better team. Because if it stays this way for the rest of the year, what a catastrophic season this will be. We had hundreds of comments yesterday on yesterday's show, and I wish I could get to all of them, but don't stop writing. Don't stop commenting. I freaking love it. I go through all of them. I read all of them. I may not comment on all of them, but you guys are awesome. I want you as involved in this podcast and in this show each and every day as possible. I'm very curious, especially about your thoughts on this next topic. The team made a move today with star rookie Jordan Walker, but is it a good or a bad thing? That's next on Locked On Cardinals. If you love baseball and you love video games, great combination here. Pro Baseball GM combines your dream of being a Major League GM with the fun and enjoyment of a video game. At one point or another, you probably thought you were better than John Mozeliak. And the way things are going this year, I think all of us feel that way, that we probably could do a better job. Here's your chance to prove it. You're in charge of managing every strategic aspect of your team. You play through the season and lead your team to glory, or you go down in flames and you have a terrible April like the Cardinals are having and you get fired. Hiring the right coaches and coaching staff, that's part of your jobs. That's part of your duties. You're going to manage the finances. You'll take care of the scouting, the drafting. You've got free agency, all the fun stuff. Plus, you got to deal with the ups and downs and the personalities of your squad. All of this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Baseball GM, it's completely free, won't cost you anything. You can play it offline, which is fantastic. That way, if you're in the car, you're on the Metro Link, you're in a subway, you're on a plane, you're on a train, maybe going somewhere. If you're traveling like you were in the early 1900s for some reason, whatever, you can still play it. Locked On Cardinal listeners, you're getting a 100% free boost to your franchise when you use the promo code Locked On in all caps in the game store. So make sure to check it out. Download the game by visiting probaseballgm.com. You can also scan the code below on YouTube or look it up on the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. The Cardinals are at Oracle Park again tonight in San Francisco. They'll be taking on another familiar face. Anthony DeSclafani will be on the mound for the Giants. If you remember, he pitched with the Reds for a number of years. Will they be able to rebound from last night's gut-wrenching loss? You can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. So late this afternoon, the Cardinals optioned rookie outfielder Jordan Walker back to AAA Memphis and have recalled utility man Taylor Motter, whom they designated for assignment just the other day to bring Paul DeJong back to the major leagues. I was caught off guard by this particular move because in his last 12 plate appearances, Walker was 4 for 10, 2 walks, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Obviously fell into a slump after his magnificent hitting streak at the beginning of the year. Pitchers adjusted to him. They started pitching him low and away. He was having trouble taking the ball the other way and getting hits out of it. But he seemed to have made some adjustments, put the work in, and had looked pretty darn good at the plate his last couple of games. Now, on the other hand, he hadn't played much recently, and we were told that he was working on getting more lift on the ball instead of hitting it on the ground so much. That's what they were doing with him behind the scenes. My question here is, when I saw this, and another reason why I'm shocked, why? First off, you're bringing back Taylor Motter, and we all like Taylor Motter and whatever. He's a good guy, but not a great baseball player. Why? It's confusing to me. Why did the Cardinals activate Paul DeJong a couple days ago? Send Motter down. In fact, they don't send him down. They designate him for assignment because they can't send him down. He doesn't have options anymore. So they risk him getting claimed by another team just to bring him back a couple days later and then send Walker down. Doesn't that seem, I don't know, kind of stupid? Like, why didn't you just send Walker down in the first place when you activated Paul DeJong? I would like an explanation for that. It seems weird. And why Motter over someone like Juan Yepez, who is clearly a better hitter, has been hitting very, very well over the last week. Almost everybody at Memphis is. Why not him? What does Motter offer that is so great? Lucan Baker is hitting .319 with 7 home runs at Memphis. Why not bring him up? Put a little thump in your lineup that has been sorely lacking. And another side of this, at the beginning of the year, what was exactly the plan of having 5 outfielders and keeping Walker on the roster in the first place if you knew you had 4 guys ahead of him that deserve playing time? That was something we brought up over and over and over again. If you keep Jordan Walker on this roster on opening day, you have to play him. There was already a logjam of solid outfielders with Nootbaar, Carlson, O'Neill, and Burleson. Already there. And you added Walker as the 5th guy. You did it anyway. Now, either fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, Lars Nootbaar gets hurt opening day, has to go on the IL there, and Walker gets to play a lot. It opened up a spot for him to play more. He had the hitting streak going on, so they had him in the lineup. But if that hadn't happened, what was the plan? What were you planning to do with all 5 of these guys? Why didn't he just start at Memphis in the first place? What was the rush? I understand sitting him down now. I get it. The guy he has to play. It's dumb to have him at the end of the bench. That was why we didn't think it made a lot of sense to keep him on the opening day roster in the first place. Because if he's not going to get everyday playing time and he's going to have to be in a platoon with all the other guys, that's kind of stunting his growth. So why not have him at Memphis and then have somebody else up? But that's not what they did. They brought him up anyway, and now here we are. Again, sitting him down now, it's understandable because he's not playing very often. So, yeah, let him go down there and start at Memphis. But in my opinion, they kind of fudged this up from the get-go when it was obvious you had too many outfielders already who needed to play, which is why we pleaded with management to use some of them, at least one of them, in a trade to get more starting pitching. And they didn't do that. They went and got Andrew Suarez and then sent him down. And they made a trade for Anthony Masevich. And now he's no longer with the team. Just some bad decisions, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Once again, thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Tomorrow's show is going to be after tomorrow's day game. So just a heads up. I know this one's coming out kind of late today as well. But it's going to be around this time again tomorrow because of the day game in San Francisco. But be sure to catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast for tonight's game and tomorrow from San Francisco with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube. You are the best fans in baseball for a reason. And I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.